enter the
But it has no altitude.
S. You said just this. You didn't have it.
That's how he died.
Oh, that's cool. You have to swing it pretty cool. Oh, it's not a setting. Yeah. Drop something.
Oh, there's a free kill.
What is going on, my broskies? Welcome back to the Brostoms channel. We're here with the Yak-1b tactical review. In this video, we'll be talking about the specifications of this plane, then I'll give some general opinions and dogfighting tips, and then we'll go straight into the kill compilations. So let's just get straight into this. Alright, so let's talk about the speed of this plane. So in level flight with 100% throttle and 100% fuel, you'll be cruising at around 500 to 530 kilometers per hour. Once you start diving, you can hit speeds of 650 plus kilometers per hour, and it's typically around 650 plus kilometers per hour your plane starts breaking apart. So you do have to watch your speeds. That is very easy to overspeed in this plane, especially on dives. I'd probably recommend cutting your throttle there. The plane will lock up at around a little bit before 500 kilometers per hour. Which means that your plane will start shaking quite a bit, the roll rate will become literal garbage, and you won't be able to turn for the life of you. So you do need to watch your speeds when engaging in turn fights. If you're just simply trying to go for some B and Z hits, I mean, the German planes are quite fast, but if you think you can pull it off, you should have no problem hitting 600 plus kilometers per hour in a dive and being able to maintain it for quite a while. The plane does maintain energy really efficiently. So when turning and diving and all that kind of stuff and just having high speeds, the plane's not affected by drag as much. I heard that they added wind into the game, and if that's true, your plane won't be affected by it too much. As far as I've seen, you can maintain speeds that it shouldn't be able to maintain in this game, not so much in real life, but in this game, without losing speed drastically like the Spitfire or some other planes like that. It doesn't really have a max speed, in other words. You can just maintain whatever you're flying at. But once you start going like ridiculously fast, then you'll start hitting that max speed. But as far as I know, your plane will just break apart before that happens. So you do need to watch your speed when diving and such, and even in level flight. Although I don't think that you should be worried too much about a little bit of lockup in just cruising mode. But when you come to dogfighting and stuff like that, and you're, walking up a little bit, it's going to make the huge difference between whether you're being able to outturn the enemy or not. So you do need to keep your speeds at, I'd say, around 400 kilometers per hour in dogfight mode. When turning, I'd recommend 100% throttle, but when diving and such, just keep your speed low in case you need to make a quick turn or something like that. So just be aware of that. Now let's go straight into the armament of this plane. So it comes equipped with one nose-mounted 20mm Shvac cannon and one 12.7mm Berezin UBS machine gun, which is also nose-mounted. Ammunition is quite limited. You only have 120 rounds of the Shvac cannon and only 200 rounds of the Berezin UBS machine gun. So you do have to watch your ammunition because you'll burn through it relatively quickly. I don't know how many seconds of firing you have, but it is not a lot. I'd probably wager that it's around 10 seconds. So you do need to watch your ammo, and you need to make sure that your shots line up with the target. And like I said, this is a nose-mounted gun, so sniper shots are definitely in the picture. There is no bullet drop yet in this game. There is recoil, but there's no bullet drop yet, so you can literally just, laser them down. And you'll see me do that in some of the gameplay with other planes. This isn't so much of the plane for spray and pray though. You do need to be quite accurate with your shots. I'd recommend hitting targets and banks and turns and such like that. I wouldn't necessarily go for like insane long range shots. You're gonna definitely want to be close quarters for this. But if you think you can land the shot, like if it's a level flying plane or something like that, The nose-mounted machine gun will help you. If you're going to set your convergence to anything, I'd leave it at parallel or even 400 meters or something. Doesn't really matter because these are like pretty much nose-mounted. I mean, you have your 20 millimeter directly on the nose, and then you have your 12.7 just directly above it. So your shots are pretty much going in a straight line regardless of the convergence. But just a reminder, just make sure you conserve that ammunition because you'll burn through it relatively quickly. So you guys are probably wondering if the armament packs any punch, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you that it does. It really does destroy a lot of planes, even though it's not as heavily armed as some of the German fighters. I found that it doesn't really make that much of a difference, and I think the reason for that, or at least the main reason, is that your shots are more likely to be more concentrated because the convergence will always be right. It's the nose-mounted gun. The more concentrated fire you can do, the more damage you'll do to the plane. So wing clipping is a lot more easier and stuff, as where maybe the German fighters with the wing-mounted guns are going to be spraying all over your plane while you're going to be hitting a centralized part and just doing localized damage to the wing or the engine or something like that. So it just clips it more easily or kills the engine faster or even lights the plane on fire. But as for bombers and other stuff, ground vehicles with armor, I wouldn't recommend bombers. You can take out. There's no problem taking out bombers. You just will burn through a lot of ammunition, and especially with ground targets, especially the armored ones, it does make a difference how many 20 millimeters you have. So I wouldn't necessarily target ground targets that have armor on them because you'll be spending a lot of ammunition just trying to kill one. Just let the IL-2s do the heavy lifting there. But for anything air combat wise or lightly armored machine guns on the ground or anything like that, even the convoys, trucks, this plane can kill no problem. Alright, so the last thing I want to talk about is its durability. This plane's incredibly durable. It is so much more durable than I expected. I think it's more durable than anyone else expected. I couldn't find the stats on the site yet. I don't think they've updated the website since the update. But once they do that, we'll get some specific numbers. But I've been lit up so many times and just never died. This plane is literally a beast when it comes to just tanking stuff out. It can literally tank flak. It can literally tank several rounds of 20 millimeters. It even kills after death, guys. This plane is insanely durable. I don't know how else to say it. It feels like you're flying a bomber or have the health of a bomber. So getting lit up doesn't really seem to affect this plane as much. It is a bullet sponge, I'll be honest. It is a bullet sponge, guys. And the IL-2 is so much more of a bullet sponge. I can't wait to start talking about that. There is one weakness on this plane. Like all great things, there's always some kind of weakness, an Achilles heel or something like that. And with this plane, it is the horizontal stabilizer, that little piece of thing sticking out in the back, the tail, whatever you want to call it. It literally takes like 120 millimeter to knock that thing off, or just one critical hit or something like that. So if that thing gets hit, you're pretty much screwed. But if everything else gets hit, you're a-okay. This thing will not blow up on you. But now for the real question: is this plane realistic? And I gotta say, it is. I was pleasantly surprised to find out that it flew quite realistically. Obviously, it doesn't fly like 100% accurate like an IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad, but it definitely flies pretty closely to its real-life specifications, which is nice. Because WAD does need a little bit of realism in it. I think the only thing left to do is just add altitude and oxygen levels and air density, all that kind of stuff, which I don't know if we'll ever see. But once that's added, there won't be much to complain about WAD anymore because it'll be a really nice simulator. So now that we know a little bit more about this plane, let's go ahead and start talking tactics. So like in all tactics, you always want to have an altitude edge on your opponent, and you want to play your plane's advantages to your opponent's disadvantages. And with the Yak-1b, that just happens to be turn fighting. You're going to want to turn fight in this plane, and you're going to want an altitude advantage. The higher you can get, the better. Realistically speaking, this plane performs pretty well under 3,000 meters, so that's where you want to dogfight at, and that's where you want to engage your turn fights at. In WAD, I'm not too sure if altitude has anything to do with turning abilities, so you can probably turn with opponents way above you. But you do need speed in order to turn. This plane does turn better under 400 kilometers per hour, so if you plan on turn fighting, make sure that you're not going too fast because your plane will be locking up. So try to keep your speed at around 400 kilometers per hour, even 300 kilometers per hour. That's where it's going to turn the best. If you're turning with a Focke-Wulf A3, just make sure they're not going fast. If they're going fast, you have to kill their speed first before turning with them, because they will out-turn you if you're not careful, or at least turn well enough to stick with you. So always have a wingman just in case that happens. But if you don't have a wingman, make sure to eliminate the 109s or the Focke-Wulf speed before you engage in a turn fight. More importantly so with the Focke-Wulf A3, with the A4 and the 109G and F and E models, you're not going to have to worry about it. You can just straight up turn with them because they're a little bit heavier. But with the Focke-Wulf A3, just make sure you kill the speed first. And try to keep your speed up, don't stall out. Getting too low of speed in a turn fight can be very devastating for you, especially with the 109s as they accelerate faster. And once the 109s start gaining speed, or the Focke-Wulfs, then they'll be able to keep up with you in the turns. It's very tricky to fly this plane, so you have to be very mindful of your speed and your turning abilities and all that stuff. If you're not careful with it, you're going to get out-turned, you're going to get out-dived, you're going to get out-climbed. So yeah, be very careful with that. As for climbing with the 109s and Focke-Wulfs, I'd probably recommend you do so. This plane keeps up with them unrealistically well, so play it to its advantage. Keep up with those 109s, keep up with the Focke-Wulfs. Once they start climbing, just chase right on after them. You're not going to stall out. And if you do stall out, then just dodge the bullets on the way down or just tank it out, because this plane will most likely be able to tank it. So just play by those rules and you should be doing pretty well. This is definitely a skill plane. It's not something you can pick up like the Zero and just know how to use. You are going to have some patience with it and some technique. But as you refine it, you'll see that you'll have more success with it. But that's all I got for you guys today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If it helped you, leave a like. If you like the video a lot, subscribe for more. Hit the bell button if you want to stay informed on all the live streams, and join our Discord for any announcements or anything like that. And that's about it. I'll see you guys next time.